I will tell you, obviously, I'm a huge Izzo fan, Mark Few. College basketball is more about the coach. And in a year, we don't have UConn this year. We don't have a 37-3 team. We don't have a, Duke has some NBA guys. Last year, UConn is honestly, it's one of the best college basketball teams we've had in over 10 years. I mean, they were blowing people out, including an excellent coach and an excellent Zach Edey and an excellent Purdue team in the Natty. Like last year, it was an easy one. I picked UConn. I mean, you could watch them once. They look like an NBA team. Big, physical. A team I'm rooting for this year is St. John's, a dead program. I'm rooting for Rick Pitino, and I think they have a chance to win it. He is the story, and we see this a lot in America, of a really talented guy that kind of screwed his life up. There is an argument he is, along with John Wooden, Coach K, and a few others, the greatest college basketball coach ever. What is this, his 7th Final Four potentially? 6 programs he's gotten into March Madness. And he's taken over some dumpster fires. Now, he's gotten a little help from the richest St. John's alum, the cat who created vitamin water, has sprinkled a little green vitamins into St. John's NIL, so they went and bought some good players. But what Rick Pitino is, he's kind of got a Bill Parcells feel, an Urban Meyer feel, a Jim Harbaugh feel. He's got a formula, coaches hard, great eye for talent. Teams play suffocating defense. He's situationally brilliant. And here is his team again going into the tournament. He is a turnaround wizard. And a lot of programs, they didn't want anything to do with Rick Pitino. If you go look at his coaching turnarounds, which I'm putting on the screen here, I never thought when he was coaching the Celtics or Kentucky, he'd end up at Iona and a dead St. John's program. But, he's a brilliant basketball coach, and occasionally his moral compass has flipped around a little bit. Hasn't gone as north as you'd prefer. So, what's interesting with Pitino, and this is what's fascinating kind of about life, is his strength, because of his kind of mess-ups, is his flexibility, his mobility, his ability to be thrown into turbulence and course correct the program overnight. And for years and years, a college basketball coach would go to a program like Dean Smith, and you just didn't leave. You stayed there forever. But now, with a transfer portal and the NIL, and so many college basketball coaches saying, enough of this nonsense, I'm out of here, Pitino, the sport is leaning into Pitino. His specialty, the salesman with a brilliant basketball mind, right? A lot of guys in coaching, they don't want to be a salesman. They love basketball. We've seen a Boston College football coach last year said, I don't want to be a salesman. I want to be a football coach. Went to the Packers. Most coaches are like that. A lot of great coaches. Jay Wright had plenty of years left. They don't want to do all this NIL and transfer portal. It's just exhausting. And you become like a pro GM. But actually, if you look at Pitino's career, it plays right into his strength. You can throw him into any room, and he can sell Rick. He can sell basketball. He can sell his ideology and his knowledge. And the sport now is built for Rick Pitino, and I'm going to root for St. John's because a lot of really smart people occasionally in life screw up. That's the world we live in. We can be an avalanche and bury him, or we can say, well, what are you going to do? Put him in jail? So I am all for St. John's. I think it's great for the sport. I love to see New York City care about college basketball because I grew up in the Pacific Northwest, and my favorite conference wasn't the Pac-12. It was the Big East. You had Rowley and John Thompson and Louis Carnesecca, and they've been trying to get St. John's going for years, and the facilities still aren't great. But they got a big booster, they got some money, and they have arguably the best coach in college basketball, and he's heading to the tournament once again. Here's Rick.
You are a New Yorker. You delivered on your promise to New York. What's your message to New York City as you head to the big dance?
Well, we've built this program now into a solid foundation. Now we're going to take off. This garden's packed every night. I always say the NCAA, I've been knocked out in the first round. I've been to 7 Final Fours. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Play it one game at a time.
Yeah. Now, last year, we all kind of knew what was going to happen. UConn was going to end up in the Final Four and be favored in the national championship. But I think this year is a year for an Izzo. Keep your eye on the coaches, because Auburn is the best team I saw, but Florida now is hotter. The SEC is completely stacked. I have 2 teams in the SEC going to the Final Four. Wouldn't be shocked if there was 3. I would not be shocked if there was 3 SEC teams. I said this 2 months ago with J-Mac on the air. I watched some SEC basketball in January. I'm like, it doesn't even look like any other conference. Like, it is 6th best team is great. So I'm my bracket's got a lot of excellent veteran coaches moving up and moving out over players where I think there's just a lot of sameness. But I can't wait to see Pitino, Tom Izzo later this hour. And oh, by the way, the Warriors won again this weekend with Jimmy Butler, the hottest team in the NBA. You love, J-Mac, you love the tournament. You bet the tournament. You're the only guy that follows Creighton basketball's depth chart. So I'm going to go, I do think coaching is going to be really important. I also think all these SEC teams, these Floridas, these Tennessees, these Auburns, they've all played each other all year, and I think it reminds me a little bit of growing up when the ACC or the Big East was stacked. I think the SEC, those teams have been playing in like tournament-level intensity for the last month.
Yeah, and you know, I've mentioned this many times to you. I'm a multi-bracket guy. I'm like, fill out 20 brackets. Some of them will have 3 SEC teams in the Final Four. You're a 1-bracket guy. I'm trying to get you off that.
Yeah.
Tough to teach.
I got 2 SEC teams in the Final Four.
Interest, 2?
Yeah.
Huh. And do you have Duke in there?
No. I do not have
has
Duke.
The most favorable draw of any of the top 4 seeds.
I have one dark horse in the tournament. I'm not going to give it away now. I'll give it away next hour.
The staff got me onto who your dark horse is. So I'm not going to say anything.
It ain't that dark.
Don't love it. Don't love it, Colin. I'll be honest with you.
All right.
But it should be a fun week, man.